All right, welcome back to Real Geek Media, April 25th, Thursday, 2024. Hayden Stoll here with Christopher Michael Blake. We are here to talk about the box office predictions from the previous episode. And we also have news stories. So, Christopher, how did we make out on the box office?
Weird and fascinating news stories, Hayden. Let's not undersell ourselves today. We're
Yes.
not going to undersell anything today. So, if I told you there was a clear-cut winner this week, I mean, it just ran away. Let's do it.
All right, what you
So
got?
last episode we had special guest star Dr. Alton Simpson, and we reviewed 4 movies. The first one was Civil War. You guessed it would be 15 million. I guessed 40 million. Dr. Simpson guessed 20 million. Remember what Civil War happened to do that weekend?
Ooh, was it somewhere in between the 20 and 40? We look at 30, 35-ish.
25.7. Dr. Simpson won that one.
Dr. Simpson.
Dr. Simpson won that one. Now, here we go. Abigail was the second movie we looked at.
Mm-hmm.
You guessed 10 million. I guessed 12. Dr. Simpson also guessed 12. The actual retail number was, hit it on the nose, 10 million.
Oh.
You ran away with it on that one.
Oh.
I'm not keeping score, but if we were, I'd be in some trouble. Here we go. Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. All 3 of us had this movie not doing very well. You guessed 5 million. I guessed 9. Dr. Simpson guessed 10. The actual retail number was, drum roll please, 6 million.
Oof.
Hayden, you took it again.
Oof.
It was a rough opening weekend.
What do you think happened with that movie? Is it just Guy Ritchie just doesn't have an audience anymore?
Look, he's got 2 big stars in the movie between Alan Richardson and Henry Cavill, right?
Henry Cavill, yep.
And they certainly put it on television enough for people to see.
Yep.
In terms of this is coming out.
Lots of ads for it.
But what was in the ads? I didn't really see any action. I saw them talking a bunch of stuff, and
yeah.
Okay, nothing that preview made me want to go see this movie. But I have a theory, and I'll cover it in the news, as to what could have possibly affected the outcome for this box office total for him.
Gotcha.
But we'll go into the news first with that. The last movie we reviewed was Hard Miles. It was the Matthew Modine movie where he takes the underprivileged kids and
Right.
I'm going to teach them the bike in Grand
Right.
Canyon, Death Valley. You guessed 500,000. I guessed 1.1, and Dr. Simpson guessed 2. The actual retail, it was only 480 screens. Just keep that in mind. $200,000.
Mm.
Again, it won a bunch of awards at Sundance and everything else. So
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting.
So
Interesting.
you went 3 for 4. You went 3 for 4 today. You're in the Hall of Fame.
Listen, I'm telling you, we're going to get a title belt that we're going to pass around between us. You know, box office champion.
Unless mine comes with a paycheck, I don't want it. So Hayden, this week we have not 1, not 2, but 3 movies to review. The first one I'll give you comes out tomorrow. I think it's going to be a big movie. The movie's called Challengers.
Oh, yeah.
The
Okay.
Zendaya movie, the tennis movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Basically, it's I want both guys.
This is the trailer that kept Tom Holland up at night.
So now I got to tell you something, okay? And this was pretty hot. I was talking with a girl. I'm not going to say where or when. The safety of all involved. And she was like, I want to see this movie. I've never been involved in anything like this, but this appeals to me. I'm not even a tennis person. And I said, well, Zendaya is hot. I think she's a good-looking girl. So I think there's a large contingent of females out there that do want to see this movie. And I think there's a bunch of guys who will go to see Zendaya and go with dates. So if you're asking me what this number does, I'll give you the number that I think. And I think that number is going to be 16.
16 mil?
16 mil. Not
Okay.
16,000, 16 mil.
16 mil. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna go. I mean, she's a big. She's. I don't know if I would say big star. She's pretty. She's got a good following, right? Like I think coming off of Dune, this is her movie now, and I think you're right. 16 sounds ballpark solid. I'm gonna go 20 because I feel like this is a. I think it's an R-rated film, right?
Has to be. This for the topic it's talking about.
So I think I'm gonna go 20.
Okay.
I'm gonna go 20.
The next movie up is the Ken movie that's coming out, The Fall Guy.
Now, okay, Fall Guy.
Yeah. Now, Lee Majors, as far as I know, is not in the movie. It's what's his name? Ryan, not Reynolds.
Ryan Gosling.
Sorry to hear it. Yeah.
I think this movie looks fun. It's I believe it's directed by David Leitch, who he's done. Hold on, David Leitch. John Wick co-directed Atomic Blonde, Deadpool 2, Hobbs and Shaw, Bullet Train, and The Fall Guy. So, if nothing else, you're going to have action. You're going to have some choreographed stunt work, on top of a story that from a series around the time you and I were growing up. I would check this movie out. As far as box office goes, I don't think it's going to set the world on fire. I'm going to go 15.
So now, I'm going to give you my take on this. The movie cost $125 million to make.
Yeah.
And for me, this is going down faster than a United airplane. I just, for me, they're putting the duct tape on the wings. I'm kind of sitting here saying to myself, where's the desire for me to go see this? Is he killing a lot of people like Arnold or Sly Stallone? No, okay. Is he more the reluctant hero? Okay, is that really selling it for me at this point? I mean, you mentioned some of the movies that you just told me about. Bullet Train sucked.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't stand it. What were some of the other ones you mentioned? John Wick 4?
No, the first one. He
Okay,
uncredited co-director.
That's because they probably removed his ass and said, "You gotta get off the screen because this is not working out."
Deadpool 2.
Yes. Again, not impressed with that one either. Yeah. That one was not as good as Deadpool.
Hobbs and Shaw.
Again, pass.
Yeah.
And I love Statham. Just.
He like the other Chad Stahelski, who was the credited director of the John Wick movies. This is a stunt guy, right? Stunt guy that is now a filmmaker. So, if anything, this movie should speak to kind of his, what he does, what he knows. I mean, I don't know. I think it'll be okay. If not just a fun.
It could be. I had no desire to see this. I don't know why anybody else wouldn't take it. Unless you just want to look at Ryan Gosling's abs. I mean, that's the only reason I could possibly think the selling point of this movie would be. I gotta go 12.1. I really, I just think this takes a giant hit. I just, I mean, is there even like you've seen the trailers? Okay, he flips a van over. Okay, he's on fire, and then he's riding around doing car chases and
Think of it as like
where's he breaking new ground at? I'm just kind of like
it's
go ahead.
Bizarro World Driver.
So I'm gonna give you a film, and it was extremely well done, and the second one was actually better than the first because it did spawn sequels. And if you told me that they were making a third one of this, I would sign up for that instead of this movie. And the budget would have been probably 50 million cheaper. You ready?
Ready.
FX3.
I'd see that.
Brian Brown. Go dig Brian Dennehy up.
Yeah, man. Imhotep. Bring him back.
You know, the special effects, especially from the second one. And I think that the bad guy actually was the one from Mission Impossible in that movie. The new one that was just out. I don't know why I just thought of that, but they're basically the same character.
So, like, here's what you do, right? You got Brian Brown, you got the other guy. Brian Dennehy is, guess what? A special effects character. He's CGI. FX3, it writes itself.
I don't have to go that far. I'm not, I'm just saying that for my money, I would rather see FX3.
Right.
Knowing that the movie hasn't been out in 30 some odd years at this point, that no one remembers probably the first two.
Yeah.
But they had solid plots. They were about a filmmaker, a special effects guy who had to use his wits to outsmart the bad guys in both movies. And speaking of that, Benny was in that movie too, wasn't he? The second one.
I think he was. Yeah.
Because he played the criminal guy who's trying to go. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, see, we're tying all this
there
stuff together. All the loose ends are coming into play now. Mission Impossible. We're connecting everything here tonight.
That's it.
But for me, that's just more. I would rather go see that movie with two guys who were in their 70s, probably with beer bellies, than go see the Fall Guy, who's basically relying on his good looks to get him out of problems at this point.
Listen, I'm not going to argue. I agree with the point. Mindless, dumb, stupid, whatever action, some silly comedies. There's a place for it all. I just, it's not going to light the world on fire. That's for sure.
Look, the original TV show with Lee Majors, he plays basically. He's a stunt guy who has to go and be a bounty hunter now,
right? And
go bring these people in. That's basically the premise of the. Is this what we're going to aspire for in future films, or is it a huge deviation? Kind of like the A-Team, where Hannibal Smith's not the actual one who comes up with the plan, but instead we need Bradley Cooper because he's the star of the movie to actually do it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just
so budget of 125 million. You're calling flop out the gate.
12.1.
Gotcha.
I just don't know who goes to see this thing.
Yeah. That's a sizable budget for,
Look, the fact of the matter is, for you to get a Coke, a popcorn, and a candy nowadays is $40. So it's not just a $20 ticket you're spending; it's $40 on top of that. And I think that's a huge detractor in terms of when people are going to see these movies.
Yep.
So the last movie, Unsung Hero. And if you need a second to Google this one, I know I did.
I do.
Basically, it's a PG rated movie, true life movie. It's about a girl who ends up supporting her family by becoming a singer.
Okay.
I think Lucas Black is in the movie.
Yes.
But it basically has a Christian type theme to it, family type orientation theme, some drama. Again, it's all real life.
Mm-hmm.
She ends up going to Nashville and making it big. I guess it's a true life story for somebody. I don't know who it is. I can't imagine it cost a lot to make.
$6 million budget.
$6 million. Again, you have to think they're going to make the money back with it, though. So go ahead and give me your opening. Again, you got to think it's, even though it's a wide release, it's probably going to be limited theaters.
Opening weekend, we're going to go. $750,000.
That's a fair assessment. I was gonna say 1.1.
Hmm.
Okay.
That's still in the ballpark.
No, and again, I don't think we're expecting either one of these movies to. I think Challengers, obviously, for the next
I
few weeks.
think Challengers is going to be the one that pulls ahead.
And the best part about Challengers is this. I'm not trying to hype the movie. I had no intention of going to see it when it comes out. But if it does well opening weekend, and a lot of the females like it, they'll talk and they'll go on social media and talk about it. And it could have a rebound week the second week, where more people go out to see it the second week instead of the first week. I'm not saying it'll beat the opening weekend. It's impossible to do that almost.
No.
But word of mouth will travel. Hey, go check. It could have like that Wild Things type vibe to it.
Yeah,
If it
that's
has
fair comparison. Yeah.
Again,
I don't know what the premise outside of, you have a love triangle with tennis athletes. I mean, if I said that to you, you'd be like, I'm good. But I think there's got to be more to it than.
There's not going to be any nudity with this. I mean,
No.
I don't think so.
There won't. Not of,
Zendaya.
yeah, definitely no. Definitely no.
No.
Yeah.
I agree. But I think that Challengers could have a nice, strong weekend number 2. But so all this talk of money, Hayden, and now I have to come up and ask you, how much would you pay to advertise your business for here on this podcast?
I think
before you rub 2 nickels together, hold on now, don't do that yet. Let me tell you that this will be forever ingrained on YouTube for eternity. And I don't know where you can buy a promotion like that nowadays.
I
I
agree.
just told you, going to the movies for 1 ticket, popcorn, and a soda, and a candy is $60. So for less than that, you could advertise here on this show, get your business new clients, do a sponsorship on this website, $50, one-time fee. You get 2 shows basically back to back, 2 opportunities to make your money back. All you got to do is go to realgeekmedia.com, click on the link for sponsor us, advertise with us, or donate here to get started. Again, that's www.realgeekmedia.com. Hayden, is that worth at least 2 nickels to you?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, that's good because that's not the price. It's actually $50, but you got some money. Yeah, that's okay. But we can use that. That's okay. So, from author Christopher Michael Blake, author of the horror novel Pray for Dawn and the science fiction thriller Pyramid of the Parasite, comes the mystery novel The Cape May Murders. 5 days before Halloween, retiring police chief Browning has 2 different mysteries to solve. The first is the reappearance of a woman who's been missing for 28 years. Where'd she go? She returns with amnesia. And the second is a killer dressed as the Grim Reaper, who's killing off Cape May stakeholders. No, this is not a true story. But if the fall guy wants to borrow it, it could be. Can Chief Browning figure out how these mysteries are related before becoming the next victim? Pick the Cape May Murders up. It's now available on Amazon, BarnesandNobles.com, and at www.ChristopherMichaelBlake.com. So, Hayden, let me ask you. We're going to go right into weird news. Do you believe in aliens?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Have you been watching the new season of Skinwalker Ranch?
No, I'm so far behind on Skinwalker Ranch.
You gotta check it out. It's so good.
Is Dragon still head of security?
He is, but he's actually making sense. That's how scary it is now.
That.
and
I need to check it out. That.
Which is even worse is the bigger guy, the guy who looks at the football player.
Yeah.
Who's hanging around with him, who's like the question marks over his head permanently. He's pointing stuff out to the scientists. And I'm sitting there going, oh, we're all in trouble now. But I love the show. I can't get enough of this.
That's a great show, man. That's a great show. It hooks you from episode 1.
Yes.
And
they never go anywhere. It's like...
Right. We're going to drive...
Island. We're never going to the bottom of this thing. We're just going to keep real. We're going to
just digging and digging and digging.
Just keep showing the History Channel money. This week we're going to a vacation in Europe. Paid for by the History Channel.
So the History Channel is going to be like, so you guys ever going to find the aliens? We're close. 6 more seasons. We'll probably get there. We're close.
Look, we know it's something in the Mesa, but we can't go into the Mesa to go get it.
No, out of the question.
Dangerous. It's too
out
dangerous.
of the question.
We don't want to disturb the Mesa either.
What was that? Did you see that? Enough about the Mesa. There's a flying saucer.
Oh, you got a bunch of them in the last episode. I'll tell you. There was no. They did some experiments and they had like 4 different ones floating around. All within 25 minutes.
Such a cool show.
So, the reason I asked that is this is from Fox News. They have a congressman who says there's a UFO cover-up. Representative Tim Burchett is frustrated because the government has spent tens of millions of dollars to find aliens. And what does the government come back with? Can you guess?
Men in Black.
Nothing. We don't have anything. There's been a lot more forthcoming about with some of the footage and stuff, and admitting that some of this footage of UAPs does exist, but we don't have any evidence. That's basically what they said, right? Well, the congressman says, whoa, wait a minute. We've given you tens of millions of dollars every year. Where's that money going?
It's a fair question.
Can you account for this? Can you tell us how it was spent? If you tell us you don't have anything, and that all this money was spent to reverse engineer all this technology that you don't have, and how can you spend all this money on something that doesn't exist? And then he goes into these meetings. This is where it gets interesting. You know where you work at and where I work at. We go to these meetings all the time. And it's like, Mr. Stoll, could you please point out to me and answer this question for me about these UAPs? And you would say, I would love to, but you have to go talk to Mr. Blake over there. And unfortunately, he's not part of this task force. So you're going to have to hold a separate hearing to get him in here. And then when I come in, I say, well, no, you need to go talk to Joe Schmo over there. And we need to come bring him in next year.
So all these round and round we go. Yeah.
Would never go anywhere. And because everything's classified, he can't discuss the stuff he didn't learn because he didn't learn anything. Yeah. Yeah, so
it's a racket, man. It's everything's just the golden goose faucet, man. Somebody's getting rich off of it. Yeah, aliens. We're gonna find them.
Look,
just need 5 million.
What's the line from Independence Day where they go in and they find they're reversing the whole alien craft, and they got the alien down from Area 52 down in there in the basement, right? And Brent Spiner's down there with the crazy hair. And the father says, oh, you didn't actually think it cost $35,000 for a hammer, did you?
There you go.
So if I said a name, I want you to tell me what you think of. If you even know the name. You might not. I didn't recognize the name at first. Tiffany Gomez.
Yes.
Who is she?
That motherfucker right there is not real.
You did this great impression right there. That's true. She was on the plane last year. She had a meltdown. She's referred to as the crazy plane lady. Mm. Basically, she did the William Shatner from the Twilight Zone.
Yes.
Where she said, oh, this is not real. That guy's not real. And then she stormed off the plane, causing panic. Everybody thought that they were in the first Final Destination movie.
V.
So she came out on X this past week as a conservative. Like we needed her, right? To pick a side. So I really, and basically she is now holding a can of beer in a bikini. And the name of the beer is Ultra Right Beer, an anti-woke company. But to me, that's not where the news story is. I could care less about the beer. I don't drink alcohol. I could care less what her party affiliation is. I'm going to show you a picture. This is her. I can see you over there smiling, wipe the drool off your mouth. She actually looks pretty good. And we were talking about Megan Fox and that level of crazy. And I have to be honest with you. I think I could deal with that level of crazy for a couple weeks.
Well, I mean, I think if you're talking like, part of the issue with Megan Fox is just a lot of work done there. This scenario you're pointing out here doesn't look like that's the case, like at all.
Look, there's no doubt that she's trying to milk her 15 minutes of fame at this point, trying to pivot it, right? I mean, she's coming out as a spokesperson. She's in a bikini. She's coming out on Twitter and doing all this stuff and trying to appeal to men, basically, at this point, through sex. Again, am I buying the beer? No. Do I care that it's affiliated one way or the other? No. It's not going to make me buy her beer or her product. You're cute? Yeah, okay. But these women are a dime a dozen. I hate to say it like that. And I don't know if I'm a company, I want her necessarily representing my products. I mean, I don't know. Would you have her as a sponsor on our show today? I mean, coming to you from American Airlines at the gate, Real Geek Media, our correspondent, Tiffany Gomez. I don't know if we need her. I don't,
I don't know. I mean, I don't disagree as far as, you're trying to keep your 5 minutes of fame. I don't disagree. Hey, look, seizing the opportunity, you got something to hawk, while you're famous, do what you got to do. I ain't going to hate you for that. As far as, if she chooses, hey, here's $50, I'll get a hawk ultra right beer. I'd prefer not to side with political, on this channel,
no.
but
Yeah.
But listen, more power to you. You got something to sell, strike while the iron's hot.
But is there any doubt she's crazy?
I don't know, man. What's crazy these days, though? Like, you and I could be considered crazy.
I think claiming somebody who's not really there, who actually is there while you're on a plane.
Honestly,
causing a massive app burst on a plane.
Is that not more commonplace than, not doing that nowadays? Like, I feel like, everything is flipped, right? Norms are completely flipped. So, maybe that's that's normal. You having an outburst, having an outbreak, somebody got their camera out filming you. That's normal behavior nowadays. Like this person that accosted Alec Baldwin the other day. Did you see this?
Yes.
Okay. Say what you will about Alec Baldwin, right? I felt bad for the guy in that scenario.
Yeah.
Like, this is where we're at though. And that person was on Piers Morgan. Did you see that?
With the cast on her arm and the
neck
the
brace
hanging out. Yeah, just
okay. So when this stuff gets normalized and you start putting these people in front of a camera, in front of somebody like Piers Morgan, actually giving this any kind of airtime, like what are we doing? I don't know. I don't know, man. Like it's everything is just out of whack right now.
I can't sit here and tell you you're wrong. I'm just sitting here telling you that on an airplane after 9/11, to be able to do something like that, that's like the one place, in my opinion, you're not acting up.
That's fair, yeah. I don't disagree. You shouldn't be doing that.
I mean, look, that's equivalent to yelling fire in a crowded theater.
Right. But, at the same sense, you have people with mental health problems on airplanes, and what if they had an episode? How different is it from that?
I can't tell you it's different. I'm just trying to tell you that you shouldn't be cashing in your 5 minutes on it. Because next thing you know, you got people saying, I'm good, become famous like she did, and I'll try something worse.
Yeah.
Because I always have to try to up what
Yep.
she did, what she got away with.
Yep.
And that's a sad statement and indictment on our society today. You know, you gotta try to rip on Alec Baldwin for his fame, and you know, look, whether you agree with what happened on the Rust production set or not, or his political leanings or not, sticking a camera in Alec Baldwin's face is not the same as sticking it in the average Joe Schmo's face at the coffee shop.
Yeah.
It's just not, because it's not going to carry the same weight.
Yep.
You know, that's for me again. Who's next? You know, you're going to go to
Right.
I had to go to this celebrity now. That's who's bigger than Alec Baldwin. I get to
Right.
Taylor Swift or Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. The ante gets upped.
Right.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's dangerous at times too, like you said. So.
We talk about OnlyFans a lot on this channel. Okay, that's not right. I talk about OnlyFans a lot on this channel. And well, it's not funny. It's the truth. Look, I'm not going to blame you for my perversion. That's okay. So, did you see who's launching a porn studio this week?
No. Or maybe I did.
Kanye West plans to launch Yeezy Porn Studio with Stormy Daniels' ex.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. This is like the Tate brothers, like cam girls. Is that what this is going to be? Worked for them, could work for Z.
A representative for Kanye has informed TMZ that the rap star hopes to add an adult entertainment branch to his Yeezy empire, possibly this summer.
I mean, look, I don't know. You could see like where the success of things like OnlyFans. We talked about it, like you said, multiple times, and the amount of money some of these people were making on those sites. So, you know, he's trying to capitalize for himself. I mean,
but this is the thing, and this is where the difference becomes in. You know, people are spending $3.50 a month, and it's on a continual basis or whatever it is, rotating basis. That's different than me going on a website and paying $20 for a movie, $25 for a movie, or trying to go out and buy videos, which no one really watches anymore because everything's on your phone nowadays, or paying behind something that's behind a paywall. I can kind of do that OnlyFans almost anonymously, but now all of a sudden, I can only guess that this is going to be more expensive than that. At least I would think.
yeah.
And did you know Kanye describes himself as having a porn addiction?
It would not surprise me. I mean, is that in his resume? It's in his like mission statement.
Kanye described himself as a porn addict in 2019, saying that his fixation with adult entertainment began when he was 5 years old.
I mean, that whole thing is problematic, you know.
I just think that the whole porn industry has been thrown off by OnlyFans. I mean, that has to take a cut out of the pie at this point. So I don't know why you would go on a venture like this, knowing that women can film something at home and put their own content up. And that's where, if I'm an adult star, basically that's equivalent to being an indie author. I don't have to go to a casting couch. I don't have to get somebody else's validation. I don't have to be in
and
front
you're
of
not
a
paying
studio.
somebody else a cut of whatever you make.
I don't have to be in front of a studio of people watching me, gawking at me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm intimate with somebody who I am familiar with, or on a personal relationship with, or myself. Again, that's just my take with it. But
Yeah, no, I agree, man.
I think this is a huge financial mistake. But he is a successful business guy, and I'm not. So, yeah.
Listen, I mean, if anything, he sees what the other sites are making, and I mean, you know, Pepsi and Coke. You know, you have rival brands. I don't know.
Hayden, what's the farthest you've ever gone to try to make money? Have you ever been on a Yeezy porn studio call? I need to know.
Not that far, no.
No. Have you ever taken your dead uncle to the bank and tried to get him to sign documents?
Oh, man. I saw this. I've never done this. But I did see this, and that was just... Oof.
Brazilian woman brazenly wheels elderly man's corpse in the bank to co-sign a loan for her uncle. It asks him, "Are you listening?"
Oh,
The New York Post compares this straight out of Weekend at Bernie's.
Yes.
A Brazilian woman reportedly wheeled the corpse of an elderly man into a Rio de Janeiro bank on Tuesday to try to get him to co-sign on a loan. Erica de Souza Vieira Nunes, that's way too much, was captured on video standing next to her deceased, sitting in a chair, seemingly holding up his head.
Yes. Weekend at Bernie's is the perfect reference for this.
The loan was only for $3,400, too. She says to her uncle, "Uncle, are you listening? You need to sign the contract. If you don't sign, there's no way because I can't sign for you." She then puts the pen in between his limp fingers and instructs him to hold it.
Oh,
She then tells the corpse, "Sign it so you won't have any more headaches." The bank official says, "His color looks off. He doesn't look so good." She tells him, No, he always looks like this." He doesn't say anything. And then she asks him, "Do you want to go to the hospital?"
Oh, man. That's brazen.
Yeah. So they're looking into the circumstances around this guy's death, but apparently he'd been dead for at least 2 hours before she wheeled him in to the bank.
I mean, look, it's the groundwork for a new heist movie, right? Weekend at Bernie's 3, right?
Which are some great movies, by the way. I love them.
Yes.
I showed the first one to my daughter recently, and she liked it. So
They're so funny.
if it wasn't for the headphones on top of the guy who was underwater for the second one, it'd be a great movie. It's a Jamaican voodoo posse. Okay. Are you sure you've never fraudulently done any documentation, or maybe you're kind of like the guy in what's the movie with Tom Hanks and Leonardo DiCaprio?
Oh, Catch Me If You Can. Frank Abagnale.
Are you sure you're not him? Because down in Florida, where this stuff always seems to happen, a couple of geniuses were arrested for making a fake winning lotto ticket in the hopes of tricking officials into handing over $1 million.
This is our favorite state.
So basically what they did was they took 2 halves of a lotto ticket and they tore it in half. And they took another lotto ticket, put it up, and then ripped the other half, put it together so it looked like it was the winning ticket, took it over to a puddle, splashed it in the water, and then said, "We have the winning ticket here. This is the winning numbers right here." And by the way, this is a scratch off, by the way.
Right. Right.
The problem was that the top half didn't match the second half when they compared the serial numbers.
Yeah. They have like barcodes and stuff that they try to match up, right?
So they told this genius couple, "Congratulations on your victory. Why don't you come on back down and claim the prize?"
Oh, man.
So they showed up. And that's where the cops were there, and they said, "Well, we got to separate you two." They get him into one corner, and he says, "I don't really know where she got this ticket from. She came home with it, and it was already ruined like that." She says, "Oh, no. I bought this, and it fell in the puddle while I was getting into my car. I accidentally tore it." 2 completely different stories. And both of these people are now going to jail for a pretty good time. They
Yikes.
were arrested and charged with forgery, adulteration of a lottery ticket, and intent to defraud, passing a forged altered state lottery ticket, and larceny, grand theft of 100,000 or more.
Like, at what point do you just be like, nah, this is such a stupid idea. We shouldn't do this. Like, they never got to that point. They were like, yeah, this is genius. And if we put them together and put it in a puddle, no one's going to know. Like, it just never gets past that this is stupid.
Look, it's not like on the level where the John Travolta, Lisa Kudrow movie was, where they're taking the Powerball numbers and
Yes.
filling them with the ink to make them drop, and then changing the balls out. It's not to that level. But you almost would have thought with a little bit more, they maybe could have got a job there, and then started passing some fraudulent stuff. That
Right.
would have been the inside
Sure.
money, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yikes. Yikes.
So, Hayden, we talked about in our last episode about the ungentlemanly warfare movie, Guy Ritchie, right?
Yep.
And we talked about one of the stars of that movie, Alan Richardson. And you asked me my opinion on why the movie didn't do better. And unfortunately, this week, he came out with a statement about the police. Did you see this in the news?
I did.
And he says, and I want to make sure I get the quote correct, cops get away with murder all the time. And the fact is that we can't hold them really accountable for their improprieties. It's disturbing to me. We should completely reform the way that we do this line of police work. I mean, you shouldn't have to spend more time getting an education as a hairstylist than as a cop who's armed with a deadly weapon. Now, I know he's trying to make a point here. Politics aside, being a police officer is a very tough job. I'm sitting here watching Instagram all day long of these people who are social rights advocates. They don't want to roll their car windows down. They don't want to cooperate. They don't want to show their hands. Again, sometimes the cops are acting outside the scope of their authority. It happens. But to make a blanket statement like cops get away with murder all the time, there's a lot of times they're there to save and protect us. And maybe this is my opinion that they're the last bastion of society that separates us from going back to medieval times at this point.
Yeah, the sad thing about this comment is, right, 9/11, you have cops, you have firemen running into the building while people like Alan Richardson are running away for dear life. So when you make a stupid ass comment like that, like, what are you talking about? Like, and this is some of my issue with this is like, you're an actor. Your job is to pretend, right? You're not in these scenarios that these officers are in. High stress situation. What's your high stress situation? Waking up at 5 to get makeup? Come on. These cops, they're out there and things can go bad at any point. To say these things that he said, it's uninformed, and it's unfortunate that he would go that way to say those things. I look at his show Reacher, and I feel like the law enforcement community is the main audience for this series. So what are you doing? That's your audience. So you say something like that, and it was just a boneheaded move, I think. And it's another like Hollywood actor who doesn't know anything, right? You're around Hollywood, you're not around real life. Your job is pretend. You don't really know. So where are you getting that? It's unfortunate, but your movie bombed, and now I kind of wonder about your show. So,
I can't really argue with your point there. That being said, I was a fan of his before the comments, and I'm not so much a fan of his after the comments. So I'll leave it at that. And again,
it is funny you say that. James Gunn is doing the new DC universe for Warner Brothers, right? And Alan Richardson's been kind of politicking to be Bruce Wayne, Batman. And I was at the time, I was like, I could see it. Now I'm like, no, anybody else, please. I don't want to see this guy. It's like, for me, like, as an actor, you look at Tom Cruise, okay? He's out there, he makes a movie, he sends a message at either the beginning of the film before the credits roll at the opening of the film. He's there delivering a message. Thank you for coming to see the movie. We really appreciate you and everybody in this audience. You don't hear dumb stuff come out of his mouth, right? His bread and butter is the audience. They come to see his movies. He's the biggest star in the world. He's not out there saying dumb stuff like this nowadays. He did at one point in his career, but he's not doing that right now, right? He's the guy, right? And when you're an actor and you realize that, when you remove the mystique and you say things that are uninformed, you're kind of committing career suicide in a sense, right? You're an actor, be that star. You don't need to talk about, politics. You don't need to talk about, I think we should be at war with this country. Just keep it as, you're an entertainer and keep it there, right? That's it. And, you starting to see when people do that, it's just like, man, people tune out.
To pivot topics, how dangerous is it going to McDonald's nowadays?
It's dangerous to my wallet. I can't afford it anymore.
McDonald's worker 15 left with fractured skull after man stomps head.
What?
Yeah.
EC Dub over in the big
Johnny
arches.
Ricks was arrested for assault after he allegedly grabbed the teen by her hair and yanked her across the parking lot of the restaurant just outside South St. Louis before bashing her head into the concrete and punching her in the face.
Dare I ask why?
Let's see, does it say? The cowardly attack was a captured and disturbing video posted on Facebook. The person who posted it said that this gentleman should be charged with child endangerment and attempted murder. Reportedly, Ricks was accompanied by a group of unidentified males, pulled up to the drive-thru window at the restaurant, and began behaving obnoxiously. It was getting loud and being obnoxious in the drive-thru, so he said, if you want your order taken, step inside. The group then came inside, started menacing the workers, storing items around the restaurant, and spitting on at least 4 employees. At one point, go ahead.
They should have called Alan Richardson.
At one point, St. Louis police said at that point, Ricks became enraged and threw a food tray at the electronic menu screen, destroying it. A brawl then spilled out into the parking lot, with the video showing at least a dozen people, both men and women, grappling and throwing fists. Ricks who towers over the teen, who's a female, can be seen dragging her around the parking lot like a rag doll before raising his foot to nearly her waist height and bringing it down on a helpless girl's skull. Yeah, it's a shame. Real shame.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's just, I don't know.
Like I said, the dangers of going to McDonald's nowadays. You can't even take your family out to go eat somewhere.
No, you can't.
And we've covered, stuff that's going on at other McDonald's and people not getting the right Pokemon and throwing temper tantrums. And
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know where these people.
They get set off over the smallest thing, and they pull out a knife and they start going out. It's nuts. It's nuts.
We talked a little bit about the comments that Jerry Seinfeld said that Hollywood has lost relevance as movies no longer occupy the pinnacle in the social and cultural hierarchy that it once did. I gave you the rationale for that in the last episode. What do you think about that statement?
I agree with it. it's very much, you know, you go back. We've been reviewing, you know, the past 2 weeks or the past two episodes, movies from 1999, right? And you look back to 1999. We didn't have, you know, the curtain wasn't pulled back on movie productions or, you know, images from films. You could go on Twitter. You'll see behind the scenes pictures of Deadpool versus Wolverine that you could kind of put together the whole plot. Back then, there was mystery. We know the movie's coming out. We know who's casting it. You know, you have these Entertainment Weekly, you know, you have Entertainment Tonight talking about films and movies and TV series. And that was how you kind of, oh, okay. Oh, look, they're going to show some behind the scenes footage. And that's where you would see it. But that's it. And that's the only place you would see it. All right. Now there's no mystery. You know, you knew a movie's coming out. You know who's casting it. You're basically got somebody with a drone filming the movie being filmed. And then it's on X. It's on YouTube. It's on Facebook. There's no mystery. And, you know, people have gravitated towards other things. You know, films are not what they once were. People could just jump on YouTube and watch a 3-minute short of somebody with a hula hoop jumping into a pool. All right. That's what entertains people nowadays. People jumping into an ice box and, you know, dumping cold water on their head. That's what people are entertained by. They're not going to sit through a 2.5-hour movie. And he's right. He's absolutely right. I don't know. I don't know. What do you do to fix that? Can it be fixed? I don't know.
Apparently, if you're Jerry Seinfeld, you make a movie about Pop-Tarts.
It does not help his cause.
He's got a pretty good number of stars in the movie, though. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
How about this? Christian Slater, Hugh Grant, Peter Dinklage, Jim Gaffigan, Bill Burr, Melissa McCarthy, Amy Schumer.
Hmm.
Not a bad cast for the making of How You Made a Pop-Tart. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Like, do you think it'll ever get back to kind of where it was? I think it's just everything's overexposed. But I think people
nowadays,
people aren't watching television. People are streaming something, or they're watching YouTube. You know, people rely on those things as their sources of content. People don't watch the news anymore. They scroll through X, or they're watching shorts. It's just people consume their entertainment so much differently now than they used to that these other things are obsolete.
Wait till AI takes over and we're all watching just AI content. That's all I can tell you.
I mean, I already have Disney Plus.
The last news article for tonight, Hayden, kind of goes along with the same topic. Our first podcast, we covered the movie The Naked Gun. 2025, new Naked Gun movie coming out.
Oh, is that right?
However, creator David Zucker is not impressed by the upcoming reboot and slams Paramount for not reaching out. They're just going to do what they want. Now, I have to ask you, Hayden, who would you get to star in this movie?
I think we talked about this a little bit during that episode. I'm trying to recall who we... Did we say like a Liam Neeson type? Did we talk about that?
As a matter of fact, he is the person who's in talks right now.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Because that's like when Robert De Niro was in Meet the Fockers, right? You have the serious actor going comedy. I can see Liam Neeson in that. I can, yeah.
There is a current Paramount announced release date of July 15, 2025.
I don't know what to think of that, though. It's going to depend on who writes it.
Well, he says he's not involved. He says that he had a script back in 2017, and Paramount chose not to go with him. They said they love the script. We want to produce this. And then they somehow went off and got somebody else to do it. I don't know if it was at half the cost or, you know.
That's a tricky one because I don't know if people are going to accept it without the involvement of Zucker.
I think they would.
What if it sucks? What if it's not funny? I mean, it's a risk.
Can it be any worse than some of the stuff that Mel Brooks has put out?
No, but you're talking.
I mean, Dracula Dead and loving it. Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Robin Hood Men in Tights is awesome.
Sorry to hear it, but I mean, look, basketball. I mean,
I don't know. You have like it's built-in name recognition, right? Naked Gun. People go in, you're expecting, okay, this is going to be some tongue-in-cheek comedy. You know, it's going to be start to finish. You're going to be laughing. What if it's not that though? And you know, when was the last comedy movie that you saw that was like, oh
Spoof.
man? Well, just think of what was the last good comedy movie you saw.
Oh, I couldn't even tell you.
It hasn't been in this decade, probably.
So I can tell you that. They have potentially have Seth MacFarlane as the writer of the script.
Not a fan, but you know, I know there's a big fan base.
Family Guy's hysterical.
Right. You know, he has funny stuff. I'm
his movies and TV shows.
yes.
Not so much.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it is in my opinion. I mean, it's not my type of comedy.
Yeah.
And Hayden, that's it for the news.
All right. News is wrapped. Christopher, what do we have our next go around?
I have no idea, actually. I don't have my paper.
Yeah.
Is it Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom? I believe it's Indiana Jones Temple
Is
of
it
Doom.
Temple of Doom?
I believe so.
Yeah. The
Short round.
we don't know. This is my favorite Indiana Jones movie. Yeah.
Kali Moore.
But listen, geeks, we thank you for joining us for The Mummy. We thank you for joining us for the box office and the news. Short round, thanks you. Check us out. 2 weeks. We're going to talk about Indy. The plane. There's no pilots. Check us out. Christopher, where can they find you?
www.christophermichaelblake.com.
All right, geeks.